After I was arrested, I was taken to a cell, and then I was taken for interrogation. I was blindfolded and handcuffed. I was asked, do you know who is holding you prisoner? And I said, yes. And they said, you're being held in the prison of Hayat Tahrir Sham. After I was arrested, and then they said, okay, this is interrogation. We need to ask you some questions. If your answers are not forthcoming, then we do have the authority to physically do things to you so that you will tell us what we need to know. They lined me up against the wall, and as if they were about to start beating on me. And I just said, okay, well, go ahead and do it. And they ultimately didn't do it, but I was then sent back to my cell. And basically, I stayed in my cell in different prisons for the next 4.5 months. And I had no lawyer. I had no access to anybody on the outside. I was just gone. That was my situation. I myself personally was not subjected to any type of physical torture. I was in solitary confinement for more than 6 months. However, almost every day of every week, I had to listen to the screams of torture going on in other areas that are just a few meters away from me. As I was told when I was arrested, when I said that I want to have a lawyer and I want to see a judge, they said, this is the security division. There is no lawyer and there is no judge. Well, I was maybe assuming that that was part of a scare tactic, but it wasn't. The joke was on me. I had no access to a lawyer of any kind, and the actual judicial process, if you want to call it that, was as follows. After I was in prison for 4.5 months, the guards came to my cell, knocked on the door, said, come with us. They put a blindfold on me and shackles on my hands. Then they put me in a van and they took me to another location. Removed the shackles, removed the blindfold, and said, your trial is about to start. So I said, well, you know what? I've been in prison for 4.5 months, and I have no access to a lawyer. I have no access to call any witnesses. I have no access to the internet, so I can see the context of whatever statements that you're going to charge me with. 10 years of bloodletting and fighting, this is the type of justice that we can expect from your rule. And basically it was like, okay, duly noted. Let's continue. So I knew at that point that it was all fake. At this point, I'm in prison now for 6 months. And they said, okay, next week we'll come back and we'll give you your verdict and or release or sentence. I went back to my cell and I knew that there had to be some face saving going on here. When I was called back into the room a week later, they said, charge number 1, incitement against the authorities, guilty. Charge number 2, defamation, guilty. Charge number 3, meeting with / knowing the location of wanted persons, guilty. And I'll just explain this part. You see, they gave me nothing in writing. So my charge of meeting with / knowing the location of people, it changed during the actual trial. But I had no defense against it because they never gave me my charges in writing. And the 4th charge was having relations with groups that are threatening security. Once again, guilty. Regarding the statements that Abu Muhammad Jolani made in regards to Tawqir Sharif and his statements of torture in HTS prisons, if I can pretty much sum it up in 2 words, I could say that Abu Muhammad Jolani lied. And as I said, I've spoken to Tahrir Sham members about this issue. And I even spoke to one member who basically got up there and said, no, he did tell the truth. So I looked at him like this. I said, what? He told the truth. There's no torture in the prisons. And he said, and I quote, Bilal, torture is not how you understand torture in the West. He said that it's allowed to show them something of punishment to get them to admit to their wrongdoing. And I'm taking what I've just said very, very seriously. This is exactly what was said to me in my living room by one Hayat Tahrir Sham official.